I'm not even exaggerating when I say that UFC Paris might have been the best card of 2025. 11 finishes out of 13 fights. The best crowd by far in the UFC goes to the Paris crowd. UFC Paris just went down, and like I said in the title, I ain't clickbaiting. That might have been the best card of 2025. For a fight night, that's definitely the best fight night, but I think that can go up there with just the best cards. You know, the fights themselves, the storylines in the co-main and the main event, the crowd, everything about this card, the finishes too. UFC Paris delivered. The fighting nerds are falling, and we're going to go down every single one of the fights, break them down, and we'll start off with Shauna Bannon versus Sam Hughes. I predicted Sam Hughes to get the job done. She finishes Shauna Bannon in the second round, gets a rear naked choke over Shauna Bannon. Yeah, this fight kind of went exactly how I predicted. Sam Hughes dominates Shauna Bannon, and Sam Hughes has had a bit of a career turnaround. She went from being one of the worst women on the roster like 2-3 fights ago. If you'd have asked me who the worst women MMA fighter in the UFC is, I probably would have said Sam Hughes, and she's had a career turnaround. I think she's on a 3-fight winning streak now, just finished Shauna Bannon as well. Probably going to be getting somebody in the top 15 next, so she's had a good career turnaround, second finish in the UFC, and she's one of the grittier women MMA fighters in the UFC. She's never going to be the best striker, she's never going to be the best grappler, but she is one of the grittier. She always makes it a dogfight. Her wrestling's improved a lot, and yeah, Shauna Bannon is just too one-dimensional. I said this coming into the fight. She's got like a point taekwondo style, but again, it's low output. Her grappling, even though she got a good submission over Puja Tomar, has never been that good, and I kind of knew she was going to get dominated in this fight, and she did. Sam Hughes took her down, mauled her. I remember when Shauna Bannon grabbed her gloves, and then Sam Hughes just wicked her in the face as well, so good win for Sam Hughes. 3-fight winning streak. You've got to give her somebody in the top 15 next after that, and for Shauna Bannon, I don't really know what to say. She's always been a low-level fighter. Even in the fight with Puja Tomar, she was losing that fight too. I don't want to just start shitting on Shauna Bannon now that she's lost, but she was never that good of a fighter to begin with. So, good win for Sam Hughes. Good finish to kick off the card as well, especially when it's women MMA, when we don't really see finishes that often. So, solid win for Sam Hughes. Gets the job done. We then had Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Andreas Gustaffson. Rinat Fakhretdinov finally gets a finish and gets the TKO in the first round. Andreas Gustaffson swings for the fences. He's weirder than DDP. Gets caught by Rinat, who's a bit of a mid-striker, and gets TKO'd in the first. Listen, as much as I like Andreas Gustaffson, I'm never going to hit on a fighter that tries making it fun and even admits to it himself. But I'm confused to how this guy has a professional license. How is this guy won so many fights? How does this guy have a professional license? And how is he in the UFC? The way he fights, it ain't even like DDP where you can see how it's effective. The guy's fighting style, it's not even striking. It's like swinging, but it's not even like calculated swinging. It's just, it's like a bar fight. It's like if you see like a guy in the bar fighting like he's drunk. That is the style of Andreas Gustaffson, just running forward, trying too hard to make it a dogfight. Again, I respect it. It's all guns blazing, but I don't know how this guy has a professional license. But yeah, Rinat gets given a free finish. I mean, any capable striker in the UFC could probably finish Andreas Gustaffson. And again, I don't want to shit on him because he dominated Chaos Williams in his last fight. But that was, I just don't know what the game plan was. Run towards Rinat and swing for the fences, hoping that something lands. He got knocked out in the first. But yeah, good win for Rinat. He needed a finish because he'd been getting these robbery decisions recently. So to get like a 30-second finish is exactly what he needed. And hopefully top 15 guy next. You can call him a, you know, a robbery merchant, but he's 24-1. I think he's like 6-1 in the UFC. He's got some good wins as well. He beat Brian Battle a few years back. So I think for Rinat, if we're going to give someone in the top, in the welterweight division, someone in the top 15, I think it's time to give it to Rinat. 24-1, knocked out Andreas Gustaffson in 30 seconds. You can't really ask for more for Rinat. And yeah, it was just a weird but chaotic fight. If like, I understand that Andreas Gustaffson's game plan is to walk forward, but it almost seemed like he's trying too hard to look to be fun. You know what I mean? Like there's being a fun fighter, there's being a scrapper, and then there's that just walking towards him, swinging for the fences like you're fighting in your dreams. It's never going to end well. I don't understand what the game plan was for Gustaffson, but again, I'm going to respect it more than the boring fighters. But solid win for Rinat. Finally gets a finish. Got to be someone in the top 15 next. And yeah, good TKO for Rinat Fakhretdinov. Then we had Brad Tavares versus Robert Bryzek. Robert Bryzek gets the TKO in the third round. Another bit of a weird fight. Robert Bryzek was beating the crap out of Tavares in the first, kind of took the second round off, and then went straight back to it in the third and got the good win over Brad Tavares. And the post-fight Octagon interview, I think, is the biggest highlight of this fight, which we'll get onto. But yeah, Bryzek has some solid boxing for the middleweight division. We kind of saw this in his debut, even though we kind of slowed down. But he has got some serious boxing. He's quite quick for the division, jacked as well. And he's pretty quick, and his combinations are smooth as well. That first round, he was so close to finishing Brad Tavares. He got him against the cage, was ripping to the body, going back up top, landing the combinations. And then eventually he dropped Brad Tavares, went for the ground and pound finish. And even though he couldn't get the finish, he was seconds off getting it. Credit to Tavares. But yeah, he just pummels him in the first. Takes a round and a half off, a little bit too hesitant in the second, probably getting his gatherings back, and then decides that he wants to go at it again in the third and iced him again and got the finish. So solid for Robert Bryzek. I know a few people are saying this was a bit of an early stoppage, but I didn't think it was an early stoppage. Tavares wasn't winning the fight. He got finished nearly twice in that fight. He got dropped, wasn't defending himself. I think it was a good stoppage. And again, solid for Robert Bryzek. And we might just have like, I don't want to call it a meme because it's kind of, you know, corny, but we might have like a new, I guess it is a meme that has come from this Octagon interview that could, I could see this meme going kind of viral even outside the MMA community. I think Bisping was asking him, I forgot what he asked him, but Bisping handed him the mic and I think he said something along the lines of, don't follow your dreams and give up, which I can already see getting clipped around everywhere. So fair play to Robert Bryzek. Post-fight Octagon interview of the night, but yeah, solid performance from Robert Bryzek. I expected him to be a bit of a journeyman and I expected this to be a pretty easy win for Tavares, but yeah, Tavares, he's just a weird one. You see, Tavares is a journeyman. Like, he's just a win-loss journeyman in the UFC. Every now and then you'll see him pick up a win. Every now and then you'll see him lose. He's never going to have momentum in his UFC career, but good win for Robert Bryzek. And again, probably deserves a 50k for the post-fight Octagon interview itself. Sam Patterson versus Trey Waters. Sam Patterson's had a massive comeback as well. Knocks out Trey Waters as well with a monstrous hands. Yeah, he was kind of just bouncing the head of Trey Waters on the feet, pinging him constantly, and eventually wobbled Trey Waters, went for the finish, took his time, but eventually, I don't think he dropped him, but he was just getting wobbled so much to the point where the referee stopped the fight because Trey Waters has no head movement. Can we talk about the Sam Patterson comeback as well? This guy, his comeback needs to be studied. I remember watching UFC London, I think it was the 2022 card, the Aspinall Volkov, where he got brutally knocked out in the first round. Like, I'm talking brutally knocked out by Yanal Ashmuz, head bouncing off the canvas, out cold, out stiff in front of the London crowd in his debut. And since then, he's put together 4 wins, 4 finishes, 4 of them being in the first round. And the guy's had a massive career change, 2 submissions, 2 knockouts. You couldn't have asked for a better comeback from Sam Patterson. It's literally been a career, like a perfect career, since getting knocked out by Yanal Ashmuz. So fair play for Sam Patterson, now on a 4-fight win streak, and he is one of the UK's better prospects. Like I said, I think he asked for Neil Magny in December. I think Neil Magny's booked, but I don't mind that fight because it kind of gets him close to the top 15, and I do think Sam Patterson is at that stage where he's like one more good win away from getting someone in the top 15 or the top 10, maybe like a Gilbert Burns if he can beat Neil Magny. So fair play to Sam Patterson, he's on a winning streak now. And I think the only flaw of Sam Patterson is the defense. He kind of does have a bit of, you know, I said this coming into the fight, his defense is dodgy. He leaves his chin wide up in the air, but yeah, he picks apart Trey Waters, wobbles him on the feet, goes for the kill, and gets the finish over Trey Waters. And it was a great finish. And for Trey Waters, that guy has no head movement whatsoever. He was getting pinged about. He looked pretty technical on the feet early on, but the guy's got no head movement. Sam Patterson was finding the chin easily. And Sam Patterson, even though he has got pretty solid boxing, isn't by any means like an elite striker. Yes, he's rangy and everything, but he's not by no means elite. So good win for Sam Patterson. I think if he can work on his defense, this guy can go far in the welterweight division. Potentially, like I said, someone in the top 15 soon. And again, the career comeback needs to be studied. Maybe get him on the next UK card. I think he asked for Magny in December. So if you're going to give Leroy Murphy a title shot and you need to British talent, get Sam Patterson on the card. So good win for Sam Patterson. TKO's Trey Waters. And again, has one of the best career turns around. A bit of a dark horse as well in the welterweight division. We then had Harry Hardwick versus Kaue Fernandes. Harry Hardwick, man. I've been waiting for this guy to get in the UFC, and I think this is just the classic Harry Hardwick performance. He gave it a go, didn't go his way. Kaue Fernandes TKOs him in the first round. Yeah, this was essentially just leg kicks. Kaue Fernandes beating the fucking crap out of the legs of Harry Hardwick until eventually he couldn't take it no more, got on all fours, and the referee stopped the fight. It is a shame for Harry Hardwick, and just for the Hardwick brothers, because they're dominating Cage Warriors. They're kind of making noise in Cage Warriors, and both the opportunities they've had to fight in the UFC, they've both ended up losing. But yeah, Harry Hardwick never had a chance. A featherweight moving up on 4 days notice against a dangerous striker in Kaue Fernandes. He never really stood a chance. He gave it a go, but yeah, his legs got absolutely blasted, came out on a stretcher. Yeah, Fernandes, to be fair though, he absolutely blasted the legs of Harry Hardwick, and he's one of the best leg kickers in the UFC, genuinely. The way that he damages the leg so fast and how rapid he is. I was picking Fakhretdinov to beat Kaue Fernandes originally, but after that performance, I think Kaue Fernandes could have got the job done over Fakhretdinov. I think he's definitely one of the better up-and-coming guys we've got at 155. In his last performance, he beat the crap out of Guram Kutladze as well when he had Chimaev and Topuria in his corner. So Fernandes is definitely one of the better guys coming up at 155, and I don't think he's too far from getting someone in the top 15 next. Maybe you even give him like a Mauricio Hoofy next. Hoofy's coming up for loss. Fernandes is coming up for a good win. Maybe like Mauricio Hoofy versus Kaue Fernandes. That could be a good fight. So solid finish for Kaue Fernandes. Blast the leg of Harry Hardwick. Made it look easy. It was never going to go any other way. I don't know if we're going to give Harry Hardwick another opportunity. Maybe he needs to get a full training camp at 145. Maybe give him a can. I do think it's fair to keep Harry Hardwick in the UFC because he did fight on that short notice against a killer. But yeah, that's just a solid performance in Kaue Fernandes. He was getting booed as well because he was Brazilian, but regardless, blasted the leg of Harry Hardwick. So solid for Kaue Fernandes. I say, like I said, you give him Mauricio Hufi, and if he can beat Hufi, then he's just beating a massive name. Give him someone in the top 10. So solid win for Hernandez. Not good to see Harry Hardwick in that fashion, but hopefully we'll give him another a chance and don't just send him back to cage warriors. Then we had Marcin Tybura versus Ante Delija. Finally someone coming over to the UFC has had some success. Ante Delija knocks out Marcin Tybura in the first round. Yeah, he didn't want to waste time and pity-patter with Marcin Tybura. He went straight for the kill, overwhelmed Marcin Tybura. Aspinall's teammates are now 2-1 against Marcin Tybura. And finally, a new heavyweight contender just dropped. I've been waiting for a heavyweight contender for a long time. Waldo Cortez Acosta couldn't do it. We finally got a new heavyweight contender in this division. Ante Delija, I think he's 35 years older, is getting up there in age. But regardless, we need new names at heavyweight, and we've finally got one in Ante Delija from the Aspinall gym. And he could genuinely go far in the heavyweight division because he's actually pretty athletic, he's dangerous, he's quick on the feet, and that's all you need in the heavyweight division. You put him against Curtis Blades, he's icing Curtis Blades. You know what I mean? I think the only guys I can see beating Delija is obviously Aspinall himself, maybe Volkov, Garn, and you know, maybe the top dogs, but I can even see him beating like a Pavlovich at this stage. He's like a Cortez Acosta with double the speed. So Ante Delija is what we need in the heavyweight division. It's going to be weird to see how the title picture moves around because, like I said, he trains with Tom Aspinall. He's very close to Tom Aspinall, so I don't know if they're ever going to fight, but he's definitely one of the top contenders at heavyweight. Give him someone in the top 5 next, and this is what the heavyweight division needed. And to be fair, this is what PFL needed. They needed someone to come over to the UFC and look good because every PFL fighter and every fighter that just comes over to the UFC ends up looking shit. So it's finally good to have someone look good in their debut. Ante Delija makes it look easy and just starches Tybura in the first. And I do think Tybura is on the way out. He does look worse with every performance. Even in his last fight with Mick Parkin, he gassed out after like the first round. And usually Marcin Tybura is known for being durable. So I think Tybura is on the way out. Good win for Delija though. Give him someone in the top 5. I think Delija versus Pavlovich could honestly be like a sick fight. There's no way it goes the distance. 2 heavy punches. Potential title eliminator in the heavyweight division. There's a lot of options for Delija. We needed this for the heavyweight division. And Marcin Tybura, he can go on a main event and Apex event later on this year, if for all I care. But yeah, good win for Delija. We needed this in the UFC. We then had Oumar Sy versus Brendson Ribeiro. This fight surprised me a lot as well. I was saying leading up to this fight, this is probably going to be the most boring fight on the card. And it wasn't that. Oumar Sy, again, had no time to waste and TKOs Brendson Ribeiro in the first round. Takes him down, uses the wrestling, rains down ground and pound. Brendson Ribeiro ain't defending himself. And he gets the job done. So, fair play. And this might be the greatest prelims of 2025 as well. Straight finishes in every single prelim fight. Topped off by Oumar Sy getting a finish too in France. But anyway, the fight itself, like I said, I expected it to be a boring fight. 2 fairly low output guys going against each other. But fair play to Sy. He just mauled Brendson Ribeiro. Took him down without a care in the world. Beat the crap out of him. And Brendson Ribeiro's a weird one, man. Because he's some performances, he looks like he's got potential. Like the one with Caio Machado and the one with Dion Nurgajai where he's finishing these guys early on. He looks like he's got potential. And then other times he looks shit. Like he just got knocked out by Mirzakhanov and mauled by Oumar Sy. So I think for Brendson Ribeiro, he's like a very low-level light heavyweight that shows up every now and then. And he's just, I just think he sucks. That's what I've come to a conclusion for. But good for Oumar Sy. Hopefully can string together some wins and hopefully can be a bit more fun because his last fight with Alonzo Menifield was absolutely, I mean, he was piss poor. He lost and it was boring. So if this is the Oumar Sy that we see on a regular basis, this is what the light heavyweight division needs. If he could string together maybe 1 or 2 more wins, couple more finishes, give him another opportunity in the top 15. So good for Oumar Sy. Be good to see him get more finishes, but finally ended up getting a finish as well to Oumar Sy. Then we had the main card, William Gomis getting the one of the only 2 decisions on the card against Robert Ruchala. It was a bit of a questionable decision. Somebody gave him in a 30-27, but it was a pretty fun fight. William Gomis pinged him on the feet with the kickboxing. Ruchala did well with the wrestling in the first 2. I thought it was a very, very close fight that William Gomis won. But yeah, very close. I thought the first 2 rounds, at least the second round, could have gone to Robert Ruchala, or the first round, because he was able to take William Gomis down, Gomis couldn't really do anything about it. He was was getting held down, wasn't defending himself. And then in the third round, that's kind of where we saw William Gomis go to work. He was attacking Robert Ruchala, blasting him with the kicks, and he is a pretty solid kickboxer as well. I'm going to go as far to say that I think unranked at featherweight, William Gomis is one of the best strikers. Rangy, rapid with the kicks, pretty dangerous too. His boxing might not be there and his defense is quite questionable, but as a pure kickboxer, he's one of the better guys unranked in the featherweight division, and his kicks are rapid. He just struggles with the grappling. He struggled against Ruchala. He struggled a couple of fights ago when he fought Fernandes and Brito. I think that's the problem with Gomis. He does struggle with grappling. And I say a good match is Giga Chikadze. Giga Chikadze, a really good kickboxer who's coming off a couple of losses, going to have to fight outside the rankings. William Gomis, a really good kickboxer who's going to want to fight up the rankings. I think you do William Gomis, Giga Chikadze later on this year, early next year. I think that'll be a banger of a fight. Two elite kickboxers in the featherweight division. And for Robert Ruchala, he deserves to stay in the UFC. You know, he made it competitive, arguably won the fight. I thought he definitely won at least the first round against William Gomis. Obviously has some things to improve, but yeah, I think we keep Robert Ruchala in the UFC, give him a can, let him crush it, let him get some momentum. But yeah, solid win for William Gomis. Did slow the momentum of the card down a little bit because he ended up going to a decision, but wasn't a boring fight, was a decent fight, very close. William Gomis gets the job done. Then we had Axel Sola versus Rhys Mckee. This was a really good fight, but I don't really agree with the finish. Axel Sola ends up dropping Rhys Mckee. I think it was with a body shot. Rains down ground and pound for about 2 seconds, and Herb Dean decides that he's had enough and ends up stopping the fight in the final round, which I thought was a bit unfair. I thought it was an early ass stoppage. Like, Rhys Mckee, yes, he got dropped by a body shot, and he wasn't, I mean, he wasn't not defending himself. He was covering up for about 2 seconds, and Herb Dean ends up stopping the fight. And I just feel like Herb Dean nowadays, I don't want to go on a side rant, but he's just too inconsistent of a referee. Like, he's either stopping fights too late, he's stopping fights too early, he's making dumb decisions, like the groin shots as well in the fight with Mauricio Hoofy, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But I feel like Herb Dean is really starting to fall off as a referee, because I thought it was an early ass stoppage. I thought the fight could have gone on, and potentially Rhys Mckee could have ended up winning, because I feel like McKee's made for dogfights. I said this coming into it. He's got a really good chin. He's always in your face. He's durable as fuck. He's gritty. He's kind of made for these dogfights. And his hands did look nasty. He was pinging Axel Sola a couple of times, wobbled him a couple of times. But like I said, Herb Dean stopped the fight too early. And it was a great fight from Axel Sola. You know, he made it competitive. He was firing back. Like I said, dropped Rhys Mckee with a body shot and potentially could have got a normal finish if Herb Dean would have let it go on. And it was a good debut as well. Solid debut in the UFC. And Rhys Mckee, even though he's got a really bad record, he has been facing straight killers. Like, he faces Axel Sola, who's this 10-0 undefeated French prospect. He's faced Chimaev. He's faced, you know, the likes of Nojkwani as well. He's had a murderer's raw at Rhys Mckee. So I hope he doesn't get cut from the UFC, because again, it was an early stoppage. I hope he gets one more opportunity to prove himself in the UFC, because he has got heavy hands. But Axel Sola gets the job done. Good French prospect at 170. Looked good as well. I don't know how far he's going to go, but he did look pretty good against Rhys Mckee. It was a banger of a fight as well. Both guys just swinging back and forth. Both guys wobbling each other. Probably, if there was, I mean, there's way too many fights to compete with a bonus, but if there was a fight of the night bonus, I wouldn't mind it going to Axel Sola and Rhys Mckee. But Sola gets the job done. I thought it was an early stoppage, is what it is. We then had Bolaji versus Mason Jones. Mason Jones pulling out a massive comeback. Yeah, Bolaji drops him in the first. Mason Jones decided he's had enough, takes him down, mauls him with the grappling, eventually gets a TKO in the second round of a Bolaji. Yeah, this was a massive comeback from Mason Jones. He almost got finished in the first round. Bolaji cracked him with a massive shot, dropped him. I thought if that would have been Herb Dean, the fight probably would have been stopped, because he was raining down ground and pound. Eventually, Mason Jones finds his bearings, gets back up, and then just dominates and mauls Oki for the rest of the fight. I think he dropped Oki at the end of the first round. Second round comes along, takes him down, gets immediately in dominant position, and he's just destroying him. He nearly got the Kimura as well, or it might be, yeah, I think he nearly got the Kimura in the first round too. Second round, dominates him, beats him with ground and pound. Bolaji can't get back up, and yeah, just mauls him for the rest of the fight. And I feel like, yeah, the only problem with Mason Jones is he just defensively sucks on the feet. I know he tries making every fight a dogfight, and he is a pretty fun guy, but he defensively does suck. Jeremy Stephens is able to catch him a few times. Bolaji, who's not really the best striker, nearly finished him as well. So I feel like Mason Jones does need to work on his defense. But yeah, Bolaji just got zero grappling. We saw this in the Chris Duncan fight last year in Paris when he got submitted. He has got zero grappling. You put him against any guy. I know Mason Jones is a high-level grappler, but you put him against anybody with decent grappling is getting mauled, which is a shame. But yeah, solid win for Mason Jones. And again, he's not too far from the top 15 at 155. Submission win over Bolaji. Good win over Jeremy Stephens as well. He's 2-0 in the UFC as well since coming back with a finish. He's on a winning streak in Cage Warriors 2. I think Mason Jones is a real, I don't want to say a prospect, but he's a bit of a dark horse at 155. I think he called for, was it December? I don't know if he called a specific opponent, but he called for December this year, I think it was, or November, whenever it was, in MSG. So if you can get him on that card, fair enough, because he called for it. So good win for Mason Jones, gets to finish off Bolaji. Okay, then we had Modestas Bukauskas versus Paul Craig. I expected Modestas Bukauskas to dominate this fight, ends up getting a really late finish, well, not a late finish, but a last-second buzzer beater against Paul Craig in the first round. Yeah, Paul Craig pulls guard as expected. Modestas Bukauskas on the last second slashes an elbow down to Paul Craig, knocks him out cold at the last second, and the referee stops the fight as he should. Yeah, last second KO. Craig falls asleep as the buzzer goes on, which is always quite, I don't want to say it's frustrating. It's good for Modestas Bukauskas, but it must be so frustrating seeing, you know, your fighter and your coach get knocked out in the last second. But it is a shame for Paul Craig. He's done. He retired there and then, which I thought was the smart decision. 37 years old, never improves. I've said this before, he just never improves. It's just a body kick, wait a little bit, get caught on the feet, pull a triangle, or pull guard looking for a triangle, nobody falls for it anymore, it's 2025, end up getting finished. That is kind of the method of Paul Craig nowadays. He's been at middleweight, he's been at light heavyweight, and I think retiring was the good option for Paul Craig because he was just taking unnecessary damage, and before or sooner or later, he was going to get cut from the UFC. So it is I don't want to say it's a shame because I don't think anyone's missing Paul Craig performances, but it is going to be, I still find it ironic how he's got wins over the likes of, you know, Jamal and Magomed Ankalaev too. But yeah, good win for Modestas Bukauskas though. Great win for Modestas Bukauskas. I think he's on a 4-fight winning streak now, 3 of them by finish since that knockout loss to Vito Petrino. Training with Tom Aspinall, looks much better, and he called for someone in the top 15. I think it's time to give him someone in the top 15. It's time. He's 4-0 in his last 4, 3 finishes. He's looking good as well. He looks pretty well rounded too, just Modestas Bukauskas. He was beating Paul Craig in the grappling exchanges. He's got pretty dangerous hands as well. Like I said, 3 of his last 4 by finish. Get Modestas someone in the top 15. And yeah, sad to see Paul Craig going that way. It would have been good to see him pull off a triangle, but yeah, he hasn't really got it anymore. I mean, when he even was prime Paul Craig, I guess it was like 2022 when he was, before he lost to Volkan Oezdemir. But anyway, good win for Modestas, gets the job done. Light heavyweight prospect. Then we have Benoit Saint Denis versus Mauricio Hufy. Damn, it's been a while since we've seen a fraud check this badly. The former fraud check in Benoit Saint Denis gives out a fraud check to Mauricio Hufy as he not only submits him but dominates the entire fight. Takes down Hufy, dominates him in the first, takes down Hufy, dominates him in the second, and eventually gets the submission win over Mauricio Hufy, making him tap out and become the second fighting nerd to lose in the UFC. The fraud checks. Yeah, this. I mean, Mauricio Hufy had so much hype going into this matchup, and I did think it was a difficult fight, but I thought Mauricio Hufy was going to blast through Benoit Saint Denis because I thought Saint Denis was slightly overrated. You know, he'd been finished by Moicano and Poirier, and he's back, dominates Mauricio Hufy. This wasn't just a submission that he pulled out of his arse. He dominated in the entire fight. Hufy has 0 grappling, and this guy, I don't want to be one of these guys that start shitting on fighters when they start losing, but this was the same guy saying he wants to fight and beat Makhachev one day, and you can't even defend takedown. And I know Saint Denis ain't a bad grappler, but you're getting dominated like that by Benoit Saint Denis, and he had nothing to offer on the feet as well, did Hufy. It was just panic shots so he could actually, land something in between the takedowns. But yeah, Benoit Saint Denis played with him in the grappling, mauled him, gets the submission. That's a huge win for BSD as well. Apparently the decibels were like a record-breaking number in France when he got the job done as well. I think we give Benoit Saint Denis someone in the top 6, give him someone around that top 5 area of the lightweight division. He's on a 2-fight winning streak now, 2 finishes. He's pulled his socks up. He got a good win in Paris against lightweight's best prospect. And it's a bad look for the fighting nerds. We'll talk about Kaue Borralho losing in the main event in a second, but this year, 3 fighting nerds have lost. The last one to lose is Gene Silva, and Hufy loses to Benoit Saint Denis, like I said, in dominant fashion as well. It wasn't even a close fight. It wasn't even like a back and forth scrap and he lost a decision. He got dominated by Saint Denis, which I guess, to be fair, you can't shit on him too much. It just gives the fighting nerds more homework. I'm expecting Hufy, and to be fair, the rest of the fighting nerds to come back and, come back with better takedown defense, better grappling. I assume this was a wake-up call for the fighting nerds, so I'm expecting them collectively to get better. But yeah, man, Mauricio Hufy, the best prospect at 155, gets fraud checked by the former best prospect at 155 in Benoit Saint Denis, as Saint Denis gets the job done. And yeah, solid win for Saint Denis. I picked Hufy to win. I thought he was, again, I don't want to start shitting on him, but I thought he was better than that. I thought he had a good takedown defense because we'd never really seen the fighting nerds struggle with takedown defense before in the UFC, but maybe Hufy was the weakest link and loses to Saint Denis, which brings us on to the main event, Imavov versus Borralho. Nassourdine Imavov gets the decision win. It was was a fairly close fight. I thought Imavov definitely had the upper hand, but every round was pretty close. Imavov ends up tagging along to a decision win, beats Kaue Borralho. I thought this was a banger fight though. Both guys picking them apart each other. It wasn't like an absolute scrap, like an absolute war. Like, you wouldn't say this is a fight of the year contender, but both guys picking each other apart. The volume seemed to be going up each round as well. Borralho had his moment in the 5th. Imavov had his moments throughout the fight. I think the fouls kind of ruined this a little bit though, because obviously the eye pokes from Nasty Imavov, the groin shots from Borralho, there was a lot of kind of fouls in this fight. But apart from the fouls, I thought it was a bit of a banger. And let's talk about the speed of Imavov. This guy is rapid for the middleweight division. He's rapid. This guy moves like a bantamweight at middleweight. He's definitely got the best hands in the middleweight division. I think he's arguably top 5 best strikers in the UFC. Like I said, for his size, being at 185, that fast as well, and hitting pretty hard as well, as we saw against Izzy early this year. I think he's top 5 best strikers in the UFC. Definitely middleweight's best striker. And that kind of intrigues me going into the Chimaev fight, because I'll talk about the Chimaev fight in a second, but again, you've got the best grappler in the division in Chimaev, the best striker in Imavov. I think that's an intriguing matchup. I don't know if that performance was enough to give him a title fight. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't like it was a boring fight. Like I said, it was a banger. But we've also got Fluffy Hernandez and Reinier de Ridder coming up next month as well. And let's say Fluffy Hernandez mauls Reinier de Ridder and makes a statement out of him. Is this win over Kaue Borralho enough to get you a title shot over that? I personally think it is. This fight came first, and Imavov is the #1 guy. I think he should be the next title, or should be getting the next title fight, or at least his next fight should be a title fight. But I don't know if it's going to do enough to override Hernandez over de Ridder. But regardless, it was a solid win for Imavov. One of the best strikers in the UFC. And I do think him and Chimaev is intriguing now, because you've got the best striker versus the best grappler at middleweight right now. And again, it's a shame for the fighting nerds. Borralho becoming the 3rd fighting nerd to lose in the UFC. Nerds going 0-2 tonight. But I think Borralho hung in there. He didn't look bad. You know, he didn't look out of place in there. He was, you know, he still had his moments on the feet. That 3rd round, he was tagging along over Imavov. I think Borralho, he's just a little bit stiff on the feet. I don't want to, maybe stiff's not the right word, but I don't know what it is. I feel like he's off the beat when you put him against these elite strikers at 185. I can see him getting outstruck by the likes of Izzy, over the likes of Strickland, over the likes of obviously Imavov as well. He's not like he's levels below them. He has got the fundamentals on the feet. He just seems like a little bit of a level behind. Maybe it's a speed thing for Borralho, but he hung in there. He's got a solid chin as well. He took some good shots. He fired back as well. It was a competitive fight. He didn't get dominated or anything like Hoofy, but there's obviously methods to improve. I did expect to see a bit more grappling from Kaue Borralho as well. I think he only ended up shooting like 5 takedowns the entire fight, which isn't enough as well. And even for the, you know, the fact that he didn't get the takedowns, but you want to put the idea of a takedown in the mind of Imavov, which I think would have done him better. But anyway, Imavov gets the job done. I think Imavov versus Chimaev should be next. I know we've obviously got Hernandez and de Ridder, but I think we've got to give Imavov a shot. It's only fair. He's main evented in Paris, main evented twice in a row now, got 2 wins. I think we give him the title fight with Chimaev. And Borralho, I think we give him the winner of Sharp with Magomedov and Costa. I'll do a matchmaking video tomorrow, but yeah, Borralho, it's not like a bad performance. It's not one that you can be ashamed of, but shame for the fighting nerds. The fighting nerds have gone, well, not 0-3 obviously this year, but 3 of them have lost this year. Gene Silver's the next one to lose apparently, so solid win for Imavov though. But that was my thoughts on UFC Paris. I think this is one of the best fight nights this year. So many finishes, so many talking points, stacked card, banger fights, and obviously the crowd itself I think is the best crowd in the UFC. So let me know your thoughts on this fight night, UFC Paris. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching.